Hi guys, and welcome back to cryptochesterg. I'm here today to give you a Bitcoin update. We're going to be going through Bitcoin here on the short-term time frame, the mid-term, and the long-term to see if we can get some sort of targets of where we think Bitcoin's going to be going over the next week or so. Okay, we're going to be starting off with some on-chain for Bitcoin. Okay, because this you can see right here, we've got over 40 of the most powerful Bitcoin on-chain macro market indicators basically showing us what is happening with the chart. Okay, and what are we seeing right now? We're actually seeing we've had a very nice recovery and expansion phase coming into 2024 now. Happy New Year, by the way, everyone. And also you can see what point we have just hit. We've just hit a slowdown point. Okay, so you can see from previous bull markets, we're obviously exploding up and then we hit a slowdown point, and basically the chart starts to slow down or we start to go sideways. That is what the on-chain metrics right now are basically saying for Bitcoin, which is absolutely fine because we know on the macro perspective, guys, we're seriously overextended, which we will get into at the end of the video. Okay, so just wanted to touch on that very briefly. Please expect a slowdown period for the momentum for Bitcoin here. Basically, this is insinuating that we're either going to go sideways or we're going to go down. We're going to have a correction. Okay, so please keep that in your back pocket while you are trading these markets. Starting off with the short-term time frame, guys, going to be going straight into this chart pattern. You can see we've got a very clear cut, clearly presented bull flag scenario at the top of this lovely uptrend. Okay, what does this mean? Bull flags tend to usually break to the upside. You guessed it correctly. So that means, again, we probably should be looking for a long position. Are we? Probably not. Okay, we're seriously overextended, and I don't really care what this chart pattern is saying right now. What I'm really looking for is a micro short, and I will go into as to why I am looking for that. Okay, so if you did want to go long, the move is going to be somewhat like that, and it is going to be worth around 1.6%. As I said, I'm not going to be going for this. It's a bit too good to be true, and I do think we need a bit of a correction coming through for Bitcoin to start off with. Okay, now, where are we going to be going? What correction could we sort of be looking out for there? You can see we've also got a really nice level of support coming through at this level around 44.6, and again that candle wick there at 44.7 coming down, downward sloping trend line. Okay, and that does mean that we do have a falling wedge chart pattern, guys. Falling wedges, they tend to usually break to the upside yet again. What I'm really looking for here is a pullback off the volume weighted ATR band here on the 1 hour. Okay, the pullback off that bad boy and coming down to test this 55. Okay, the 55 EMA coming up around 44.6. Okay, so let's have a look at this position and let's see what we could sort of expect here for Bitcoin. I mean, if we were going to pump even further than what we have most recently done coming into this new year, I would have expected it to happen by now. Okay, we cleared the volume weighted ATR on the hourly. We've bounced on that quite aggressively, and we haven't really seen that much momentum to the upside continue. Okay, and all the momentum that we have seen resistance. Okay, so I would say if we're going to be losing this volume weighted ATR band on the 60-minute yet again in terms of testing that level of support. We've tested it 3 times now, guys, with solid candle body closes here. A couple more times there if we're doing every single hourly candle there. But what I'm saying is if we do get another candle body close, the likelihood of us staying here and coming back up, it's pretty unlikely, okay? Especially with this disgusting, filthy, dirty trend line coming down from the top side as well. So what I would expect if we do get an hourly candle body close here at around 45,100, 45,000, maybe not 200, but below the 200, below the 21 EMA here, then I would expect downside. Okay, the downside areas that I'm looking for this potential short position is going to basically be either 0.72% to the downside, bringing us down to 44.8, or basically going off the 55 EMA coming up, and that's that little green bad boy coming up like so. Okay, and that's going to be worth around 1.2% to the downside, obviously depending on when we get in and all that good stuff. In terms of a risk-reward scenario for this short-term scalp, probably would be looking at around a 1-to-1 here. We do obviously have the 4-hour volume weighted ATR band, the 15-minute volume weighted ATR band, and of course this current high for Bitcoin, which we are currently going to be looking at for a potential stop-loss area if we are going to be shorting this. Okay, so yeah, a little scalp on the chart there for you guys. Now let's move on to more of the midterm timeframes to see what we can be looking for. Okay, going to be talking about the 4-hour. Okay, so the 4-hour right now, guys, we have actually seen this measure move get completed. Let me get rid of some indicators because it is a bit messy. It's a bit messy. It does get like that when you're trading it every day, right? So yeah, what I would say here, guys, you can see we've obviously got a very strong bullish pennant chart pattern coming through. This is the support that we're looking out for here. This is the resistance on the top side that we have seen. This is the breakout scenario. What do you know? Smashing it to the upside. Really, really bullish. Obviously, the ETFs and all that stuff is making it look really, really bullish right now. A lot of FOMO coming into the charts. So you can see that is the measure move completed up. Really, really clean stuff. Personally, for me, I didn't get involved with this. It wasn't too clean because I would have looked for an entry basically around this area here, around 35.7, and rode the first TP up to around 44, and then let the wave ride from there. But unfortunately, we got the candle body close way above my first TP, so it was a bit kind of pointless getting in. Risk reward scenario wasn't there for that trade for myself, right? So that's what I'd say about that. Let's bring up some volume weighted ATR bands. Let's bring up some MAs. Let's have a look at the RSI and let's see what we are looking at the moment, okay? So what can you see straight away, guys? You can see the 4-hour volume weighted ATR band. You can see the 30-minute, and you can see the hour. These guys are getting grouped up. They're consolidating together. And what does that tend to usually mean? It tends to mean that we're about to set a very strong high, okay? About to set a very strong high and then have a rejection down to usually the 12-hour volume weighted ATR band, or potentially even the daily, which is a hell of a lot lower than that, okay? Which you will go into on the macro, okay? So yeah, that's sort of what I would say about the midterm right now from this point of view. The volume weighted ATR bands are going to be holding us back at this point, so I would expect further downside, okay? Okay, this is on the basis that we don't see a load of FOMO coming in for Bitcoin yet again, because it can still go up, guys. But what I would say is it's not looking that great. We've had a measure move completion. So what I would expect now is at least to be coming down to the 12-hour, back down to around 44,000. And depending on how long that's going to take, that the 12-hour will actually be rising up with us, okay? So maybe the 12-hour comes up to around 44.5, and this is the area that we could be looking for here, something along the lines of that, and then we see a lovely, lovely bounce here for Bitcoin, okay? But what I would say, if we're just referencing the on-chain stuff here, the slowdown, cooling period that we are potentially meant to be seeing here for Bitcoin, then I would expect us to slow down, cool down into these areas, have a little bit more consolidation, something along the lines of that, and then potentially another leg up, okay? If we don't see a leg down with the ETFs potentially coming through on the 10th of January, okay? So that's sort of what I would be saying there for Bitcoin on the midterm. Let's have a little look at the RSI, see what the RSI is doing right now. That was the wrong thing. See, RSI pretty overly extended. We did have a a bullish divergence, basically throwing us to the moon, which we did see, and we did see us basically being overbought there. So we did see a bit of downside potentially coming through at the moment, which is absolutely fine, guys. If we do see that cool-off period on the on-chain stuff coming through, then again, I would expect to be coming down to this central point and basically consolidating in this area for a little bit longer while everything chills out, okay? So that's what I would expect for the RSI. Don't just short this on this basis because there's a lot of FOMO in the air right now. Let's look at the directional movement index, guys. Directional movement index is very interesting right now. You guys know that I love this indicator. The reason behind this is because you can see we have had a bullish crossover. We've seen the ADX absolutely explode up to 30. We know the key levels here are 25 and 20. So this basically tells us that it is a potential for a very strong uptrend at this time, okay? So this is definitely something we need to be looking out for there in the next couple days or so, because if we do see the correction that I'm talking about coming down to the 12-hour volume weighted ATR band, that's still absolutely fine for market structure continuing this uptrend, okay? And what we're seeing on the midterm time frame for the directional movement index, guys, with the ADX being so high after having that bullish crossover, it basically means that we're likely to see a continuation of this trend, okay? So maybe we have a bit of a cool down period, as I was saying there, sideways action coming through, bit of a pullback, and then continuation of the trend coming up into January the 10th, okay? Very, very interesting stuff. I mean, a lot of you in the Telegram, the CC gang, were discussing that we were discussing together about the ETF and what we think it's going to be doing to the price of Bitcoin. And me and my brother are actually discussing it as well over the new year. And essentially, I think the prices are a bit high for BlackRock to be really jumping into it. I mean, they're obviously buying it up at the moment, but why wouldn't they crash the price if they could to get a better price, right? They've got the tools to do it. They've got the money there to be crashing the price of Bitcoin. They probably already have a lot of Bitcoin to be throwing that price down, causing a load of FOMO, a load of FUD in the chart. And everyone is really, really insanely bullish. Like the amount of retail people that have invested into Bitcoin and into crypto recently over the last like 3 or 4 months, just because of these facts, it kind of makes sense for these institutions to really throw down the price, okay? So that's definitely something to really be looking out for there over the next sort of couple of weeks or so. It's going to be very, very trappy, so please, please, please be careful, guys. Let's move on to the macro time frame here for Bitcoin. Let's look at daily structure. because we do have a new higher high for this run for Bitcoin. Very good stuff. And what does that mean? Essentially confirms a potential higher low. Okay, so let's have a look at the sort of micro high lows that we could be looking for here. We're looking for that initial pullback. Okay, so you can see the pullback that we do have here, pretty strong, not the biggest in the world. Okay, sends us down to around 40k. So in terms of market structure, macro bullish market structure, guys, the point to be looking out for now is around 40,000. If we lose that zone, I would expect lower prices. It's the confirmation zone, and then once we lose the 40,000, then we can look at the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement area, and that's going to be 38.9, and if we lose that, it's going to be 38,000. Okay, so those are the areas for the pullback that I'm looking for. If we do see this run continue, if we do see this momentum continue from what we were saying on the directional movement index on the midterm time frame, then I would expect a high price to get tapped here of around 50k, guys, $50,000 before we see another pullback. Okay, and when I say a pullback, I mean literally something along the lines of this, or maybe even consolidation along this zone, because if we're seeing these buys come through, not a lot of people are going to want to sell here just because of the ETF scenarios coming through. So if we do see a lot of more FOMO coming in for Bitcoin, 50k is the target. 0.786 Fibonacci retracement is the area to be looking out for there. And you can see we have had multiple resistance points from this zone as well. Okay, now in terms of a trade for the macro for Bitcoin right now, you guys know that I was eyeing up my short position for my macro long position for the daily volume weighted ATR band that was previously sat down at around 35,000, and now you can see from where we're at, we've got the 3-day, the daily, and the 4-hour all consolidating together in terms of a volume weighted ATR band indicator, guys. These are all consolidating together, all rising together, and this essentially means this is God mode support. Okay, this is absolutely God mode support to be looking out for there. So what are we going to do? We're going to get a nice green box in there. Very nice stuff. So if we do dump down, guys, if we do see a reversal for Bitcoin, it will probably be really quite violent, but the area for the next really nice juicy long position, which is usually worth around 10% when we're bouncing off these indicators, guys, especially the daily. We've been through this before, right? We've been through this before. When you bounce off this daily volume weighted ATR band after trending above it for so long, the bounce is around 10%. Okay, and please go check out my other videos if you want to reference that. And the bounce is around 10%, so we're looking probably along the lines of something like this if we do see a massive market correction. Now, this is where it gets really quite interesting, guys, because we could essentially be taking full advantage of this. And this is where it's a very tricky time to be trading this, okay? Very tricky time to be trading this, because we could actually do a short position out of this upward sloping parallel channel, okay? Which will consist of a measure move, probably looking something along the lines of this. And what do you know? That's probably going to take us directly to the area that we want to be going to. And then from there, once we hit that area, we close our short position, and then we bang in a long position, okay? Both worth around 10%. So, yeah, both worth near enough around 10%. So it's going to be a very, very active space for trading Bitcoin there. So please, please, please watch out for that. And this green box zone will be rising as the days come. And you can see we were just talking about that potential higher low area that we have just created from breaking this high, that around 40,000. 40,000 is basically the next really, really, really crucial bounce point for Bitcoin to be looking out for. If we lose 40,000, guys, I probably would expect a much bigger correction. That correctionary period would probably be, I mean, it's going to be disgusting if it is going to happen, but areas to be putting my finger on a price: 31,000, 28,000. We've got a 12-hour volume weighted ATR band at 35,000. Do I think we're going to these levels? Probably not, unless we see some sort of black swan or BlackRock or something dumping the price, right? There's many different scenarios that we could be exploring here. But in terms of a nice long position, I do, like, regardless if we dump, guys, I can pretty much guarantee that we're going to be seeing a really nice bounce here from this area. Whether it's 5%, whether it's 10%, there will be a bounce, okay? So it's definitely something to really be looking out for there over the next sort of probably a couple of weeks or so. Yeah, a couple of weeks or so. But yeah, that's going to be it from me, guys, in terms of a Bitcoin update. Thank you ever so much for watching. I do appreciate it. I will be back very, very soon, very, very shortly. I'm smashing out the altcoin updates, so make sure you go check out my other videos, because I'm doing price predictions over the next 6 months to a year throughout the next bull run through different coins that you can invest in and stuff. So really, really cool stuff. So make sure you check out my other videos there. If you like the content, drop a subscribe, guys. I see we've just hit 4K coming into the new year. Absolutely amazing stuff. And again, let me know your opinions in the comment section, whether you like the TA, whether you like Bitcoin, and whether you're going to be trading these trades that I'm talking to you about, right? But yeah, that's going to be it from me, guys. Thank you ever so much for watching. Peace out, and goodbye from me, Crypto Chester.